Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now live at 4 on this fake Monday.
I know, we'll be messed up all week
I
this
thought it was
week.
Monday, yeah, but it was a nice, I hope we all had a nice weekend.
Yeah, very nice weekend. Hope you had a good first day of school today. Too bad it was a little rainy this morning and chilly for pictures, but it's been great seeing all the first day of school pictures
Yeah, it really
on
has
social
been.
media.
It's just kind of summery out now. It's a little
humid and sticky,
really
yeah.
We'll get to the weather in just a bit, but here's what's making news on this Tuesday. Millions of people in the southeast could be impacted by Hurricane Dorian this week. We'll share the latest from Florida.
I'm also watching to see what happens with the Carolinas. My parents are waiting to see if they need to get evacuated. Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway says she is focusing on affordable housing and mass transit upgrades in her budget proposal.
And state lawmakers have announced a set of bills they say will help struggling farmers around the state.
Let's take a look outside today. Rainy to start, but then the sun came out this afternoon.
Those are some noisy storms this morning.
Yeah,
wow.
They woke me up out of a sound sleep. You too, right?
Yeah, and I never wake up. A little cooler ahead. Those are the weather words. And Dana Fulton's in the backyard in the humidity.
I am in the humidity. It is muggy outside right now. Very, very different from what we woke up to this morning. This morning we had the rain. It was windy. It was a little cooler. Now we actually have a partly sunny sky. A few isolated storms, just a slight chance for some isolated storms possible through the rest of this evening. Otherwise, we're just waiting for this cold front to slide through, and then we cool down. 79 currently in Madison, 80 still in the Dells. 82 in La Crosse. No big temperature differences through southern Wisconsin. Our wind speeds, though, still very strong, about 9 miles per hour in Madison, 22 miles per hour, though, in Lone Rock. That's our sustained wind speeds. Our peak wind gusts in the last 24 hours certainly had some strong gusts this morning, 29 miles per hour towards Lone Rock. The biggest difference right now is our dew points. So the last 24 hours, notice to the west, you've dropped. Everywhere southeast of Madison, just a little higher. That's pretty much in line with where this cold front is. Dew points around Camp Douglas are at 59, but for Madison, we're at 65, and in Janesville at 73, so it does feel pretty sticky outside. Tomorrow, though, once the front slides through, certainly won't be muggy, and it's going to feel much better. Our temperatures will drop for the middle of the week, but we get to keep the sunshine. We'll take a closer look at what's ahead for the rest of your work week on this fake Monday in just a few minutes. Right now on the roads, thankfully, things seem to be moving along okay. No accidents to report right now. On the Beltline, though, the eastbound side, of course, going a little slower than the westbound side, only for a few isolated spots. Overall, actually, we're in a pretty good spot around Prairie du Sac and Sauk City. No major delays for 14 right now. From Janesville to the Beltline will take you 27 minutes, 16 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton, and from Sudbury to downtown, about a 17-minute drive on this muggy, summery evening for us.
All right, thank you, Dana.
We are getting the first aerial views of some of the northern islands of the Bahamas, where at least 5 people are dead after Hurricane Dorian parked there over the weekend, just sat. Thousands of structures destroyed. The death toll could rise. The level of destruction is almost beyond comprehension.
Yeah, that video is unbelievable. Dorian is now a Category 2 hurricane and could still move toward the U.S. coast. Nicole Killian is in Atlantic Beach, Florida.
Dorian slowly pulled away from the Bahamas, leaving massive flooding and a trail of destruction. The U.S. Coast Guard deployed to the islands, where the Red Cross says about 45% of the homes in Grand Bahama and Abaco are destroyed.
As you can tell, we are going to need a lot of support.
As the hurricane approached the U.S., choppy waves slammed ashore in Jensen Beach as over 2 million people from Florida to the Carolinas were warned to evacuate. Florida is now expecting minimal impact, but the governor says people should obey local evacuation orders.
We just ask people to stay safe, remain vigilant. There will be some effects in the state of Florida. There'll be storm surge, there'll be some flooding.
We're in a mandatory evacuation zone, and many businesses here in the Jacksonville area have boarded up. The city's mayor is warning residents this may be their last chance to get out.
There may be a point in time during this storm where if you call 911, they won't be able to get to you. You'll be on your own.
In Georgia, transportation officials opened up interstate evacuation routes, and in South Carolina, the state urged residents to make preparations now.
South Carolina is still in the path of what is a very destructive and deadly storm.
In Florida, a fleet of power trucks filled Daytona's International Speedway, ready to go as Dorian races closer. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Atlantic Beach, Florida.
Flooding in our area is just one of the factors being considered in the latest budget proposal from Madison's mayor.
Danica Lewis joins us now with an overview of that spending plan. Danica?
And we're talking about the capital budget here, guys, and climate issues is just one of those categories that Mayor Satya Rhodes-Conway stressed today while introducing that capital budget, along with significant investments in stormwater system improvements and general flood mitigation over the next few years. She wants to see the city increase its renewable energy creation by 33% in 2020. Another thing she stressed, transportation. Her plan funds the first phase of what's known as the Bus Rapid Transit System. That would include dedicated bus lanes, faster routes, and bigger buses. She also wants to modernize the Metro headquarters and satellite facilities.
Can't turn the isthmus into a superhighway, so we need transportation options that don't rely on the automobile. And so we need to build on our success as a transit city and grow a more modern transit system that is regional, fast, and reliable.
The mayor says with the changes, she wants to see ridership in the city to reach 18 million a year. Now, one of her predecessor's priorities, we're talking about Paul Soglin here, the public market will be built as planned according to this budget, but Mayor Rhodes-Conway is asking the foundation to raise another $500,000 to help cover some of those costs and maybe mitigate the pressure for taxpayers on that.
And this is the proposal. This is not a budget.
Exactly. We've got a long way to go but there is a starting block here, and it's supposedly going to take down the debt services pretty significantly over the next 5 years as well.
All right. Thank you, Danica.
Sure. Thank you, Danica. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett will have a challenge from a fellow Democrat during the upcoming election. Democratic State Senator Lena Taylor announced today she is running against Barrett. Barrett has held the office since 2004, but hasn't announced yet if he will seek re-election. Senator Taylor is an attorney who has been in the legislature since 2003. She is often critical of Barrett, saying that he is out of touch with voters on job creation, racial issues, and the city's health department. Milwaukee Alderman Tony Zielinski is also running for mayor.
The Madison School and Community Recreation Executive Director is out on bond after being arrested last week. 44-year-old Jacob Tissue was arrested Thursday in McFarland for allegedly possessing child pornography. Tissue is out on a $1,000 signature bond. A judge also ordered him to have no unsupervised contact with minors outside of his own children. Tissue will be back in court next week. Police in the Fox Valley say they shot and wounded a suspect early this morning. The Fox Valley Metro Police say they shot the suspect after a high-speed chase that ended in a crash in Kaukauna. The suspect was shot in the upper body and taken to the hospital. Police have not said why they shot the suspect. The Wisconsin Department of Justice is now investigating.
Officials have identified the person killed in a rollover crash in Grant County over the weekend. 21-year-old Brandon Furstenberg of Platteville died Sunday after officials say he failed to negotiate a corner on County Highway Q. The car rolled, ejecting him and his passenger, Jonathan Paredes, a 29-year-old from Chicago. Furstenberg was found dead at the scene. Paredes was airlifted to the hospital, and we don't know his condition at this time. State lawmakers are hoping to help struggling farmers and sustain Wisconsin's agriculture industry with a new package of bills.
The bills target farmers at multiple stages of their careers, and Rose Schmidt tells us what the Our Farms, Our Future legislation does. Rose?
Yes, farmers who are just starting out have different needs from those headed toward retirement. And these proposals are aiming to help strengthen options for people in this struggling field in our state. A group of bipartisan lawmakers announced 3 new bills at a news conference this morning. One bill would help beginning farmers by creating a program to forgive up to $30,000 in student loan debt. Another proposal would help retiring farmers who plan on passing the family farm on by adding 2 positions to the farm succession programs at UW-Madison Extension.
In Wisconsin, our producers average 56 years old, and farm succession planning support is greatly needed. My suspicion is if we were to talk to the farmers that went out of business, some of those farmers could have been saved had we had appropriate extension planning.
The last proposal would give grants of $50,000 to some small farms of no more than 50 acres. We spoke with a Rock County family who owns 10 acres about why they support this bill You'll hear from them on News 3 Now at 6. The bills are authored mostly by Democrats, but they do have some Republicans signed on to co-sponsor them. Representative Dave Considine says he does not have guarantees from Republican leadership, but having that bipartisanship helps these bills' chances.
All right, we'll see you at 6. Thank you, Rose.
Wisconsin's health officials say nearly 50,000 children turned in vaccination waivers on this first day of school. Doctors say without their vaccinations, kids are left vulnerable to measles at a time when the number of cases has grown exponentially across the country. Health officials say there have been nearly 400 suspected measles cases in Wisconsin since last November. Immunization rates of 92 to 95% are considered necessary to prevent the virus from spreading. So far, none of the state's 72 counties have come close to the 92% threshold. 40 counties even had rates below 80%.
Authorities in Texas say this weekend shooting happened after the gunman had been fired from his job, but he was mentally unstable long before then. He had a history of calling police and the FBI before the shooting, leaving incoherent, rambling messages. But until this massacre, never made any specific threats. Authorities say both 36-year-old Seth Aaron Ator and his employer, an oil services company, called police after Ator was fired Saturday morning, but he was gone by the time they arrived. FBI Special Agent Christopher Combs said during Ator's shooting rampage across Midland County and Odessa, Texas, Ator was also calling 911. Police eventually confronted him near the Synergy movie theater.
Coast Guard officials have suspended their search for possible survivors of that tragic boat fire off the coast of California. Crews have located 25 bodies so far. At least 9 people are still unaccounted for. The 75-foot Conception was on a 3-day diving trip when it burst into flames as passengers slept in their bunks below deck. Authorities are interviewing the 5 crew members who escaped to try to figure out what sparked the fire. They say the crew was sleeping on the upper deck where the bridge was located, so they managed to survive.
There's 33 people on board the vessel that's on fire. They can't get off.
There was a stairwell to get down the main entryway up and down, and there was an escape hatch, and it would appear as though both of those were blocked by fire.
Mourners in Santa Barbara have placed flowers and 34 candles at the dock where the dive boat was supposed to return Monday evening. The boat and the boat operator, Truth Aquatics, Inc., were in compliance with U.S. Coast Guard regulations. The NTSB is headed to the scene to investigate.
The U.S. may be close to reaching a deal with the Taliban that will allow the U.S. to begin withdrawing soldiers from Afghanistan. The chief U.S. negotiator in Afghanistan says a deal has been reached in principle with the Taliban to begin withdrawing U.S. troops. The accord could lead to the gradual drawdown of the 14,000 troops in the country. CBS News has learned any agreement with the U.S. requires the Taliban to make a public break with al-Qaeda and includes a verification system that ensures the Taliban stops any terror groups from operating on their soil to attack America again.
I need to see the whole deal before I would sign on to supporting any part of it. But I do think that it's long past when we should be bringing our American troops home.
It's important to emphasize this. Any agreement that we have moving forward, the president's been very clear, is going to be conditions-based.
The president must still sign off on the deal, but President Trump campaigned on a pledge of ending the nearly 18-year war. The president said last week the U.S. will keep 8,600 soldiers in Afghanistan to keep the country from becoming a breeding ground for terrorists.
Well, there's more at 4. Meatless burgers are growing in popularity.
But how do you know exactly what's in them and how do they taste? Consumer Reports has the answers. That's when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
A new app allows people to put their faces into movies and TV shows by uploading a single photo.
But there could be a potential cost to a user's privacy. One user posted this video on Twitter saying that he was able to become Leonardo DiCaprio in under 8 seconds by using the Chinese app Zao. It's currently only available in China, but it raises new concerns that fake videos are becoming too realistic and your face could be used for anything.
Yeah, it is scary.
Yeah, speaking of scary, Krispy Kreme is bringing back its pumpkin spice glazed donuts just in time for fall.
And it's hoping to knock out the competition. The chain says you can bring in a not-so-tasty pumpkin spice flavored treat and trade it in for a donut for free. This year, Krispy Kreme has 3 varieties to choose from. The pumpkin spice donut is filled with a specially made cheesecake cream. There is also a pumpkin spice glazed donut and pumpkin spice cake donut.
You had pumpkin cheese today.
We had pumpkin cheese today from Angie Edge from the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board. It was good.
Well, stocks closed lower after new tariffs against China kicked in over the weekend. The Dow Industrials lost 285 points, closing at 26,118. The Nasdaq dropped 88. The S&P 500 was off 20.
Well, meatless burgers seem to be everywhere these days. The newer plant-based burgers claim to look and taste like the real thing, and they're while being better for the environment at the same time.
But if it's not meat, what actually is in these burgers and how do they taste? And are they an alternative to industrial farming? Lots of questions. Josh Spreiter and Consumer Reports have the answers.
It's the ultimate burger showdown. Meatless burgers, that is. Both contenders are plant-based. The Beyond Burger gets its 20 grams of protein from peas, mung beans, and rice, its fat from canola and coconut oils, and uses beets and pomegranates to provide meat-like redness. In the other corner, the Impossible Burger gets its 19 grams of protein from soy and potato, and its fat from a mix of coconut and sunflower oils. First up, so how do these meatless burgers taste?
Well, both the burgers were impressive imitators of meat, but the Impossible Burger was that much closer to a mimic of real meat because of the taste and appearance.
Because both burgers are plant-based, you might think they are healthier than an actual burger.
But that's not necessarily the case. Both burgers have highly processed ingredients like soy concentrates, isolates, flavors, oils. And they have similar amounts of saturated fat, but a lot more sodium than regular beef.
And there's also the unknown about an ingredient called soy hemoglobin, a compound found in the Impossible Burger, giving it some of the taste, texture, and juicy, bloody look of real beef.
We've never eaten soy hemoglobin before, and scientists just don't know enough about it yet. Is it safe? Maybe, but without additional research, we just don't know for sure.
In response to CR's concerns about soy hemoglobin, Impossible Foods responded, saying all the studies they did indicated there was no risk of allergenicity or toxicity. If you are looking for healthier meatless burgers made with whole food ingredients, CR's tasters also tried Amy's California Veggie Burger, which did well in CR's previous tests. And unlike the Beyond and Impossible Burgers, doesn't try to taste exactly like meat, and it has less sodium, fat, calories, and fewer highly processed ingredients, too. With this Consumer Reports, I'm Josh Spreiter, News 3 Now.
Well, both Beyond and Impossible Burgers also claim to be better for the environment than meat from cows in conventional feedlots.
Now, while that may be true, Consumer Reports points out that eating grass-fed animals raised on sustainable farms may also be beneficial for the environment. I like veggie burgers.
Do you?
But I do, but you have to really read the list of ingredients because there's a lot, like
a
Josh
lot of
said,
chemicals.
there's a lot of processed
and
stuff
that sodium,
in there.
what's it called?
Yeah, right.
Well, there's more to come on Live at 4, including a look at your first alert forecast.
And then tonight on News 3 Now at 5, a Beloit couple returns to court today on child neglect charges from last year. We'll have an update on that case tonight at 5.
We'll take a look at this. It's the Youngstown, Ohio's 36th annual Dress a Cow contest.
Aw.
This year, 10 cows competed for the best costume contest. First place winner, Shannon Montgomery, says she always picks a theme when competing in a Dress a Cow contest. Her cow this year was Moody Gras themed. Moody Gras. In the past, she's used movie themes like the Pocahontas and Horton Hares of Moo.
That's very creative.
I like it.
Dress a Cow contest. Do that around here.
Some of the cows seem happy.
Well, the oldest rivalry in the NFL is getting ready to kick off the 100th regular season on Thursday.
But first, another Titletown tradition had to be completed. The Packers' original fence was painted yesterday. Each year, the fence displays a slogan in honor of the season ahead. This year's slogan reads, "A star shines, a new era dawns," in honor of Packer quarterback Bart Starr, who passed away earlier this year. This is the 35th anniversary of the tradition. The fence has been painted with the slogan each year since 1984.
That's a great tradition.
They have a lot of those up in Titletown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really special.
All right, it's getting to be football weather eventually.
Yes, this morning it felt very fall-like outside. It was a little windy, a little dark and gloomy. Right now, though, it's a little humid and partly sunny. So we got fall in the morning and the summer in the afternoon. It's Midwest, right? Cold front sliding through is going to bring cooler weather for Wednesday and Thursday. But we'll take a closer look at your full forecast right after the break. So right now, of course, in the tropics, we are still monitoring Hurricane Dorian, a Category 2 hurricane, still off the east coast of Florida, pulling away from the Bahamas right now. The storm is still expected to take a northwest turn, but we're going to continue to monitor it because a few things have to line up in order for it to make that turn. There's a trough that's driving through the Midwest right now, actually. Of course, bringing our shower chances this afternoon. That's what's going to help push it further east and away from the coast. At this time, the current track doesn't have Hurricane Dorian making landfall actually along the coast. It's just going to ride right along it. Again, things can still change as we've seen so far with this system. Every update can provide a little bit of a shift in the track, so we'll continue to monitor it, but it's still, even as a Category 2 hurricane, bringing a lot of rain, very strong wind gusts and storm surge along the Atlantic coast. Right now, our Doppler track does have a few showers and isolated thunderstorms. A lot of rain came through last night. A very bright show, a light show coming through early this morning. As far as rainfall totals, the majority of that heavy rain coming through the southwest corner of the state. Some areas seeing well over 2 inches of rain. Some isolated areas around Platteville picking up just over 3 inches. Most of Dane County, though, around a few tenths of an inch. So as soon as you start to get to the southwest corner into that main band, picking up closer to about 1.5 to 2 inches of rain. So a very wet system. Right now, we have a few clouds still hanging out. Isolated shower chances for us through the rest of this evening. Just a slight chance for a few more isolated showers, but it's at 79 in Madison. Our dew points are in the mid-60s, so it certainly feels a little muggy outside, a little summery. This cold front is just dicing right through. The biggest difference, our temperatures in the same spot through southern Wisconsin, but dew points behind this front are already falling. And dew points in front of it, of course, still staying pretty high. That rain chance, of course, in front of the front. As it comes through, we're actually not expecting it to stall. That's the good news. Behind it, some high pressure and a little northwest breeze is going to cool us down heading into Wednesday. We'll get to enjoy some sunshine for the middle of the week. The rest of the work week actually isn't looking that bad either. Still a slight risk for severe weather, mainly around Milwaukee in the southeast corner of the state. The concern, of course, as that cold front drives through, it's coming through right in the heat of the day. So any storms that could pop up could bring some heavier rain at times or some stronger wind gusts. Likely not going to see anything for us, though. Even in this marginal risk, the storm chances we're seeing right now are close to Milwaukee, and they're certainly not severe. Looking ahead to tomorrow, of course, a nice calm day, so no severe weather potential for us. Tomorrow we have a northwest breeze. It's going to be a little cooler outside. Plan on enjoying a partly sunny sky through the day. Thursday also looks partly sunny, but we are going to watch a little bit of a rain chance creep on in, especially to the northern edge of the state. Likely not going to swing too far south, though. A lot of that rain again staying up north. Temperatures overnight will fall thanks to a partly clear sky. We'll start off the day tomorrow in the mid to low 50s, so a bit of a cool start. In the afternoon, though, partly sunny. Temperatures will stay in the 60s. Heading into Thursday, another cool start. Temps falling into the upper 40s, and then by Thursday afternoon, a little bit of a breeze coming from the south, so our temps will be just a little warmer for Thursday and for Friday. We certainly will drop after the sun sets. Our wind speeds, though, staying a little breezy through the evening until that cold front passes, and then things will calm down overnight. Still seeing wind speeds in the teens, and then overnight anywhere from about 6 to 12 miles per hour. Again, those temperatures landing close to the mid 50s for most of the area. Partly cloudy sky expected overnight. It is going to be cooler and less humid. That is the good news. Tomorrow also less humid. Highs in the upper 60s. Again, that breeze from the north, about 6 to 12 miles per hour. So we stay partly cloudy through the week. Again, the rain chances on Thursday seem to stay well up to the north. Temperatures will climb just a little bit by Friday, and then by the weekend, we fall back to the 60s for our afternoon highs. There's going to be a chance for showers creeping in Saturday night and staying into Sunday. Chance for rain for Sunday with mostly cloudy skies. Heading into next week, we have another brief warm-up to start off the week with a chance for some showers coming through late Monday and Tuesday in front of our next system. And then we get sunshine, it looks like, for the middle of next week. So a quick bit of rain, and then the sun returns for us. So again, this afternoon does feel a little summery, but the rest of the work week, we'll be back into some fall-like weather.
Yeah, not bad, though, for the beginning of September. Still nice and mild.
Yeah.
Got to wring out that air, though.
Yes, this humidity's got to go.
Gotta go. All right. Thank you, Dana.
Thanks, Dana. A recent study finds a growing number of children do not read any books at all during the summertime.
Now, a new book is out to help parents instill a love of reading in their kids. Laura Podesta reports from New York.
More and more children are starting the school year without having cracked open a single book the entire summer. A Scholastic survey shows 20% of kids ages 6 to 17 did not read any books during the summer of 2018. That's an increase from 15% in 2016.
Is it a battle between the iPad and books?
Of course it's a battle. Kids love iPads.
But the Marcus family says it's made reading a priority.
How many books did you read this summer?
45.
45 books?
New York Times book review editor Pamela Paul co-wrote the new book, how to raise a reader. She tells CBS This Morning the best way to encourage your child to read is to model the behavior yourself.
If you're sitting there saying to your kid, read a book while you're there on your phone scrolling, you're kind of sending a mixed message.
Yeah.
So it's important that reading be seen as something that's part of the family culture.
Research shows reading at home not only benefits children academically, it also helps with impulse control, paying attention, setting, and achieving goals.
As for reading electronically or picking up an actual book, experts say both are good, but one method is definitely preferable.
There's research that shows that kids absorb and retain information better when it's read in print.
And if your child says reading is boring, chances are they just haven't found the subjects that interest them yet. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
The experts also say reading to young children and babies not only helps them acquire language skills, it also fosters an emotional bond.
Can't start too early.
Oh, I miss those days. I miss those days so much.
Well, have another one. Still to come at 4, the eyes of the country are still on Hurricane Dorian.
But some eyes are a lot closer to Dorian than others. We're on board with the hurricane hunters when Live at 4 continues.
Here's a live look downtown Madison from our Edgewater Skycam on this, what turned out to be a sunny day.
Yeah, a little sun, a little clouds.
After a great start. Well, a lot of information about Hurricane Dorian comes from hurricane hunters with the U.S. Air Force who track storms from the sky.
Errol Barnett was aboard a flight that flew right into Dorian's eye.
Everybody seated. As the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron begins their ascent,
Here's the center of a storm, and then this is going to be our entry point.
the menacing target of their mission, Hurricane Dorian, threatens 25 million people in its projected path. About 10,000 feet in the sky, Chief Pilot Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Ragusa and his crew are collecting data to track the storm's impact around the clock.
How is what we're doing over the Bahamas now helping people in Florida and Georgia in the days ahead?
Knowing what it's doing now is going to be the information that they need to know, where it's going to be. The crew drops GPS sensors like these while flying directly through the hurricane's eye to its edge and back again as many as 4 times. They gather information about the storm's speed, direction, and winds. If you take a look at this radar behind me, you can see that we are in the eye wall of Hurricane Dorian, and you can feel the turbulence increase. The light is diminishing, and it really gives you a sense for just how unstable the middle of these massive storms can be. Up here, the scenery can change within moments, from the gray and choppy eye wall to the storm's eerily bright and serene eye. On the ground, violent and dangerous winds are ravaging the Bahamas. Dorian's next target, the United States.
It's going to start basically just hugging the whole eastern coastline of the United States up until North Carolina. So just as far as people being prepared, just because it's not going to make landfall doesn't mean that you're any less danger.
And as we left the Bahamas, we caught sight of this sunset over Florida, a reminder that even nature's beauty can betray approaching danger. Now, there are only 12 of these aircraft the hurricane hunters can use to fly through storms. They can also withstand thunderstorms, whereas every other aircraft in the world has to stay at least 10 to 20 miles away. This will be the next aircraft to head into Hurricane Dorian and go on its own data collecting mission. Errol Barnett, CBS News, Biloxi, Mississippi.
Those are some brave men and women.
It's fascinating science,
Yeah,
isn't
it really
it?
is.
Well, now, if you had a chance to ride on that plane, would you go?
I would think it's safe.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
They haven't lost any.
It'd be fascinating to see that.
The power of the storm is amazing. Well, when we come back, it's become an annual tradition. They open up the Goodman Pool in Madison for dogs and their owners before draining it for the season.
It's the best video of the year, and it's a great time for all. It also, look at his face, it raises money for the Canine program. Our guests include Canine Falco, and we'll learn all about it when Live at 4 continues.
No accidents right now to report. Always good news. Here's a look at East Washington, right at 2nd Street. Of course, the road's getting a little more backed up as more people hop on for the evening. All lanes of traffic staying pretty busy. Looking at the Beltline, though, the eastbound side is where we're seeing a few delays. Speeds down to the 20s and 30s around Fish Hatch, and then picking up once you get past John Nolan. As far as the westbound sides, things start to slow down around Fish Hatchery Road and then pick right back on up again the further west you go. Around Prairie du Sac and Sauk City, a few delays downtown. But once you get through that, 12 looks okay heading up towards Baraboo. 27 minutes from Janesville to the Beltline. From Sauk City to Middleton will take you about 16 minutes, and the drive from Sun Prairie to downtown just a little longer than usual, about 20 minutes this evening. That's a quick look at traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. Some of the world's best sand artists were hard at work at the Broadway Pier in San Diego. The U.S. Sand Sculpture Challenge is held every year. The artists are competing for prize money, so there are some colossal castles on display. A Canadian artist took first prize for his sculpture of Stevie Wonder. The artists can only use sand and water and have 4 days to craft their work. It's pretty amazing. Well, Goodman Pool is going to the dogs this weekend.
This is a great annual event. The annual Dog Paddle and Dog Wash is going on this Sunday to raise money for a very good cause. Joining us tonight, our police officer, Sarah Boesflew, is that right? Boesflew, sorry about that. And Canine Falco that you brought with you, as well as Carol Grob from Capital Canines. Nice to see you. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks for having us.
So, Officer Sarah, tell us about Falco here.
This is Canine Falco. He has been with the department.
He likes his head scratched, I'll tell you that.
Since 2012, he's one of 8 of the Madison Police Canines. We have 7 dual purpose, meaning that he looks for narcotics and people, and then 1 single purpose explosives only or bomb dog.
And these are highly trained. It takes a long time to train these dogs and a lot of money.
Yes, and that's where Capital Canines come in. They fully support our unit financially, and then they also help us locate vet sponsors and food sponsors. So they're a private nonprofit that completely supports our unit.
What breed is Falco?
Falco is a mix between a German Shepherd and a Belgian Malinois.
And he's with you full time. He lives at your house?
Yes.
But he is your partner.
But he is my partner.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's still owned by the city.
So does he go to every call with you?
Yes.
Or just for the calls that call for his special training?
Nope, he goes to every call with me, and then he has a special squad car. The back of it is essentially just a kennel built into the back of the car.
So Carol, tell us about Capital Canine.
Capital Canines is a nonprofit, a charity. It's citizens here in Madison that was created to establish a Madison Police Canine Unit. When we were created, the police department didn't have a canine unit. We've now purchased 17 dogs for the unit. They have 8 currently. We pay for everything except the officers' salaries. So training, squads, inserts for the squads, training equipment, the dogs themselves.
And it's not cheap.
No. It is not cheap.
What is it per dog?
I think dogs now are costing in the range of $13,000 to $14,000 per dog.
Wow, and tell us a little bit about the training they go through.
The dogs recently have been purchased out of state, outside of Wisconsin, and they're often bred overseas in Europe. So you'll find the officers talking to the dogs in basic commands in other languages. And then they usually train, I believe it's 6 weeks, from the vendor here in the States where they get the dogs, and then they come back to Madison, and now Madison has such an accomplished canine unit, they put them through additional training here in Madison, and Madison trains canine units for other departments now.
Oh, interesting.
And Middleton has them, and Maple Bluff, and UW.
They're adding the dogs, I think in part because they've seen the success that Madison has had with the canines, which is really amazing.
What's it like working with him?
Well, every day is a new challenge, which keeps the job interesting. He and I, one of his main specialties is tracking, so he's a scent-specific dog, meaning that if you left something behind and then wandered off or walked off, we could take scent from that article, and he could track through State Street, he could track through crowds of people, and he would be specifically looking for that person with whom we took the scent article from.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Do they use male and female dogs, or are they always males?
We've had both male and female on the unit.
And all breeds are usually Shepherds and Malinois?
Usually Shepherds and Malinois.
That's interesting, just because this is, you know, part of their breed and the training is,
yep,
this is like their instinct.
Drive, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he sits there and it's like, oh, what a nice dog. But I mean, he can take you down.
Falco's got a great on-off switch.
Yeah. Right now it's off, huh?
Yes, right now it's off.
Hi, buddy. So he's 8 now?
He is 8.
And when's retirement usually for a canine?
About 10-ish, depending on whether or not we can keep them healthy and how they're feeling. So then when he retires, I'll have the opportunity to keep him full-time after that.
You'll buy him from the city.
Wonderful.
Yes.
All right, the dog paddle and dog wash is this Sunday.
This Sunday, September 8th, Goodman Pool, 325 Olin Avenue, and it starts at 9 in the morning. You can register in advance at capitalcanines.org. If you register in advance, it's $5 less expensive. We have a big dog wash on the way out where it's really easy. We have the shampoo, the towels, the water. It's so easy to wash your dog. That's an extra $5, but it all goes right back to the canines.
So you bring your dog to the pool and they can just jump in the pool?
That's exactly right. Right, we've taken the chlorine down. It's ready for the dogs. We don't want people in the water, but it's ready for the dogs. We put it on with about 100 volunteers from around the city.
Great event,
This
great,
is
great
our 14th
fun,
year. Yeah.
and a great cause. Thanks for coming out today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing Falco.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah,
Keep
good
up the good work.
boy.
Exactly.
Right back with the final check of your forecast. Let's get rid of this humidity.
Yeah, if we could zap that out of here, that'd be great. The good news is this cold front's driving through. It is going to bring the slight chance for a few isolated showers. As you can see in Rock County right now, south of Janesville, we do have a little bit of rain over towards Milwaukee. There's a thunderstorm right now. Most of this is clearing on out, though, and our temps are going to fall by tomorrow. Still at 79 in Madison and 81 in Mineral Point. A little breezy as those wind speeds are close to 22 miles per hour around Lone Rock. Our dew points, though, of course, here's what's dropping. 72 in Janesville, but 51 in La Crosse.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
Thanks, Dana.
We'll be right back.
In today's Final Touch, buckle up.
It's an automotive first. You're looking at a street legal car